Hi, I'm Josh. This is newtons per second. Welcome to the channel. So today's project is adding an electronics bay into a rocket that does not have it. It's not dual deployed. So this is my level 2 circ originally. It was red, it was much bigger, heavy rocket, and since the hard landing, the rocket's shorter, I lost my other built-in electronics bay into the booster. So I went back to something I used to do years ago, was adding let's say like a 2-inch mailing tube inside the parachute bay, drilling a hole so that electronics bay can breathe. And that was a way for me to add the altimeter in there with some charges. Because this is a heavy rocket, in this rocket I still was able to keep the centering that has all my hardware as far as the U-bolts, the little terminal blocks for the pyro channels coming off the altimeter, and my charge wells I had. So in this video, that's what I wanted to show you guys, how I made the internal electronics bay inside the parachute bay, the sled, how I did the electronics, and the whole install. So here's the rest of the video.
So one way I used to do this way back, where basically this is not dual deployment, is I would add something similar to this. This is a 2-inch mailing tube from Staples, and let me set the rocket down a little lower. So what I would do is add this inside here, and I'll cut this down probably, about 6 to 8 inches, and I would actually glue it and epoxy it into the side here, and then with the caps on there, these come right off. So nice seal there. So what I would do is cut a little sled here. I'm going to use this for tracks to glue in here. The sled will slide right in, and then I'll have it fit right to the cap. And these caps fit pretty snug. And I would clear coat the top of this, and I can just tape it on. And then you just drill a hole through the side here as a breather tube, and it worked just fine. So that's what I'm going to do. Alright, so I'm going to measure this out to about 9.5 inches, and that will clear the stiffy tube, so I can put on the top cap without much problem, without it interfering with the stiffy tube inside. There you go. That's the eBay. So here's my other idea, is I want to create 2 sets of tracks on each side for the sled to go down. Because I'm not going to be using the traditional threaded rod with this setup. Okay, so now I need to design a sled. So if I make it about 1 5/8 to probably 1 3/4. Probably good right there. So this is what I'm talking about, using like a workout mat foam on here, and I'm going to cut a circle from the top and bottom. So let's see, the difference here is, I don't know if you can see that, so I have to 7/8 off the top and bottom. 7/8 here. There, and what does that give me? So that gives me a cut of 7 3/4 right there. Alright, so now I'm going to trace out some foam inserts for the electronics bay. So again, the idea is setting these so the cap, so these will be glued to the cap, and it's going to sit down and sandwich the sled like this, giving it a little bit of cushion from the vibrations of the flight. Alright, so I am going to super glue these in place and then get some better epoxy on it. this I didn't get on video. It's very hard for me to video this and get this done, so I'm going to show you guys what else I've done with this internal eBay system here. So right here I glued, you can see on each side right here and right here are basically like plastic tubes, and that's to feed the altimeter wires. When they come out of the cap here, I'm going to feed them and they'll slide down, and that won't allow them to be tangled with the recovery system. So they'll exit out down here and go to the terminal blocks and the charge well. Also, I reinforced glue on each side of the tracks on the outside, just to make sure they are solid, because all I used was super glue, and that'll eventually, I think, break. I did reinforce the motor mount, because this really wasn't glued to the center ring much, so I reinforced it with more glue on top of the gluing I did yesterday, Pro 45. I just used some more 5-minute epoxy. I gotta sand that out. That was part of a paper towel. I stuck a paper towel in there just to make sure no glue dropped into the motor tube. Also, to get the upper rail buttons here, on that side that's the 15-15, there's the 10-10. I had to use my Dremel and get through this layer of the stiffy tube, because it's too thick and it won't allow the way the apogee components rail buttons are. It has the back side of it needs to stick through and go through the middle of the rail button itself, and then you screw it through and holds it all together. So I had to get wear that out, and then I filled it with epoxy. Also, I got the cap glued in, and there's the wires for the altimeter. I also glued my switch in. I thought I was good with the switch. You could see I added some balsa wood to lift it. This is a really thick switch. I like it a lot. It's never failed me, but where it's so thick, it hits the back end here, and I had to pick it up just a little bit to clear. I mean, I guess I could have ground down the connectors, but I'd rather not do that. It's not as pretty, but I just lifted the switch a little bit. And I think that's it. One other thing, my math was off. So the switch is actually up higher, and when I drill down here, I have no way of activating that switch down here, so it's too low. So I re-drilled the hole, remeasured. I was off a whole inch. So now that's right. This is epoxied. I might have to fill it in one more time, sand, paint, and clear coat over here. So there goes my nice paint job. So next step is, once this all cures, is getting all the electronics wired up, getting it into the electronics bay, and I want to do a test. So I'll block the bottom end of the motor tube, load it up with a charge, the altimeter, hook the vac up to the vent hole, and run the vacuum and make sure this works. Okay, so here is the sled complete. The MissileWorks RC2 installed. The battery for the test I did, it's just double-sided taped on. It's not going to be like that. You can see the holes. It will be zip tied 2 different ways. And turn it on. And it's working. So to envision how this is going in the tube, it's sliding through the tracks on the internal E-bit. There's a another foam, another set of lids like this. So there's foam right here, and then there's another lid on the bottom. Those get epoxy fixed. And what the foam does is to help with any kind of vibration. And that gets sandwiched in, you know, it's got a little bit of pressure there, just so, like I said, you know, it just holds the sled from shaking around too much. And then we have our pyrotechnics channels coming out. And let's see if I can do this one-handed because this is tight getting in here. Alright. Switch hands. And there we go. And we're in. Get a shot of that. Tight fit, but it works. I am really happy with that. That is cool. And then the rubber cap goes on to help cushion it. And these caps, I'm telling you, these things fit wicked snug on here. I think with some really good tape, even like the you know, like the aluminum tape, that stuff is super sticky. I can put a bead around that to make sure that lid doesn't come off. I've never had a problem in the past doing something like this, but you never know. You know, this line can come up and, you know, rake and pop. If that pops that lid off, I'm gonna be in trouble. So definitely don't want to have the sled come flying out. So I'll do something to secure this lid. And the other thing I was thinking, I don't know if it's super necessary, is you can see where the charge well is right here. And I don't know if there's much risk of eBay being right next to it, but I can use my aluminum tape and just line this to protect the electronics bay, at least keep some heat off it. You know, the burn marks, I don't know if anything would eventually go through this or not. In this case, where this is a super heavy rocket, flying single deploy, I want to really make sure that everything, the recovery system comes out no problem. And I'm planning on still doing a J435. Projected altitude, since this rocket has been gutted a little bit, it weighs about 6 pounds less than the original Jupiter, so I should get almost about 950 feet. It'll be a way better flight. So a single deploy at 950 feet should be no problem at all. I just have to make sure everything comes out the way it's supposed to. Yeah, there we go. So that's it. That's my internal eBay add-on for the parachute bay.
Alright, just want to thank everyone for watching the video. Next video will be the ground test, testing how that electronics bay performs. So thanks again, see you next video.